2014, I left Lamu County and I went to Mwatate sub-county in the same position. In the same year, in September, I was recruited as a chief officer in the county government of Machakos. I started off as a chief officer in charge of special programs in the office of the governor. Later deployed as a chief officer in the Department of Water. Had a short stint as a chief officer in the county secretary's office, in charge of special programs for around 6 months. Then eventually I landed in the Ministry of Education, where I stayed for all the years until I left Machakos County. In Machakos County also in the year 2018, I served as an acting county secretary in charge of the public service and also secretary to the county executive committee members for a period of 6 months. And also, in all those areas, or rather in that assignment as a chief officer, I was an authorized officer and also the accounting officer of the departments where I worked. Then later, I got back to the Ministry of Education because that was on secondment. I was deployed back to Taita Taveta. I'm currently the sub-county quality assurance and standards officer for Wundanyi sub-county or Taita sub-county. So that is the work experience. I've also taken other courses. I have taken a course in strategic leadership and development program offered, it was a training number 113 of 2017. I took it at the Kabete campus. Generally, it's about strategic management, issues about corporate culture, issues about leadership, etc. I also did a course in senior management course also, course number 10 of 2011 in Matuga campus. Also, aspects about management, about governance, leadership. The training prepared me for that. Then in 2018, 2019, I took an international training in gender mainstreaming, which was done by the Swedish International Center for Local Democracy. The training took me to Sweden for some studies, and also we did some comparative studies in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, later graduating in Kenya in 2019. I've also gone to numerous workshops on aspects of procurement and supply chain management, issues about performance. Training together with KICD, specifically on the CBC. And it's a training that ran for 2 years. It was a cascade system where we would train the ward ECD coordinators, and then they'll cascade it to the zonal, to the ward level and train the teachers. I'm also a trainer of trainers with a program called KPLP, Kenya Primary Literacy Program, mounted by the Ministry of Education, supported by USAID. I'm currently the lead trainer for Makueni County. The purpose of it is just to look at the literacy levels of our teachers in grade 1, 2, and 3. I'm also a trainer with the Teacher Service Commission on the retooling of our junior school teachers, so that they can understand the concept of CBC and be able to align themselves with the pedagogy that is being advocated in CBC. To give back to the society, I have accepted to be a member of BOMs of several schools. I was a BOM chair of one school for 2 consecutive terms, that is in Mwala sub-county, and 3 others in my own sub-county of Kangundo. And also for the entire period I was at Machakos County, I was representing the county in the County Education Board. Essentially, is the CEC education who should sit in those committee, But there were about 4 CCs I had in that department. They all gave out my name to represent them. And in the CEB, I was also the chair for the school registration committee, which I think they had they took me in because of my background in quality assurance. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask Linda to ask you some questions. Linda, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, Mr. Kilonzo, the IEBC requires a diversity of skills among its members. And apart from your professional, expertise, what else? What other skills, what experience, what competencies do you bring to the table that will assist you in the execution of your mandate in the event you're taken up as a member?
Thank you. As I've described, I've been in management. My training is about education administration. And administration is a skill or a training that is transferable to any other department that we might head, because the principles or functions of management are universal. So one, I bring my experience in management to the IEBC. I've forgotten to say that I also interacted as a polling clerk. I was a polling clerk in the year 2002. And the elections for 2017 and 2022, I also participated as an observer. 2017, I was appointed by the Council of Governors and I was an observer. And in 2022, appointed by the youth agenda as an observer. So I have been able, being an observer means I toured very many polling stations. I was able, if I saw something that was not going right, I was able to have a conversation with the presiding officers and generally understood the whole process of voting. So I bring in the managerial aspect and bring in the fact that I know, have a lot of knowledge in what happens in IEBC. I bring in also that aspect of being a trainer of trainers. In IEBC, there is an issue of voter education. And that's something that I have a passion to, because as a quality assurance officer, again, where I observe teachers in class as they teach and advise them on how they can upgrade their pedagogy so that the learners can understand. That experience gives me a lot of leverage as far as advising on issues about voter education, about stakeholder engagement is concerned. So I think those, what I've done so far, can prepare me adequately for this assignment.
Now, the environment in which IEBC operates in an electoral cycle is a high stakes, high pressure environment. Now, in your career journey, what experiences have prepared you to work in such a high pressure, high stake environment such as the one for IEBC? And if you have had such an experience, share with this panel. Thank you.
In my journey as a district education officer, maybe I'll give one example where I was in 𝐊𝐤𝐥𝐻 and there was a problem that we had in some schools. A problem where those times we call them the school management committee, a chair who was very powerful, a chair who had contravened all the policies of the Ministry of Education. And I remember discussing in the district education board, and I went to the school and investigated. It is true that he was contravening the policies of the ministry, and it was even true that he had also overstayed. He had done more than 2 terms. So the decision was made that he should be removed. And one thing that I remember is that there was political interference. He happened to be a friend of a powerful person. So I was called and told that I needed to postpone that particular meeting. Because in the meeting, he was also, the fellow was also contesting. But Here it was, I have a duty to perform, but there are other powerful people who are interfering with the process. And because the person who was interfering was not the Minister of Education or the Assistant Minister then, but in the same level in another department. And of course, we had exhausted all the channel, we have done the investigation, and something needed to be done. Because there's no way we could allow somebody to contravene the policies and then continue to hold such an important position. So I informed the DC then, and I was provided with the security. Went to the school, and of course read out that so-and-so does not qualify because of ABCD. There was almost a riot because the person was very popular. But I stuck to my guns. I disqualified him. People walked out. But eventually, when they realized I was serious and I was going to conduct the elections in their absence, they streamed back. And we had a new chair. So those are the issues. And also in education, I've had so many incidences where schools are rioting, and I've been able to contain those situations. If you go to where I work, when there is such tense issues in a school where there is a contestation between the parents, the community, and maybe the principal or the head teachers, in most cases, they'll tell you, send the daktari. They call me so. And things will work out. With time, I've come up with those keys of conflict resolution. And I think I can do well. Whatever the conflict is, I've been able to find a solution, of course, guided by the laws that are there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kilonzo. Thank you, Chairman.
Caroline Kituku, please ask some questions to the candidate.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Muthama,
Yes.
the IBC is one of those independent commissions under Article 249 of the Constitution. The Parliament and judicial and the oversight bodies that play a critical role in ensuring the IBC operates independently while being accountable. What is the role of Parliament in reinforcing the independence of IBC while ensuring accountability?
Yeah, good question. Thank you, Madam. IBC is an independent constitution or rather commission. But again, we must understand that independence also needs also to be checked, because if left unchecked, it can also become a rogue commission. And that's why there are those checks and balances where now the Parliament and also the Parliament comes in. So and when we know that there is even that requirement that the IBC should making a report to the President and also to Parliament on its operations on a yearly basis, so that they can be able to scrutinize what the IBC is doing and be able to advise. So I believe those checks and balances are extremely important, because when they are there, then it will mean that the IBC will continue to better its systems, its structures, because there's somebody who is critiquing it. And we know that Parliament will always have an interest in the IBC, because the members of Parliament are put in through a system, or rather a system that is supervised or refereed by the IBC. So it is a critical role that Parliament should take very seriously, so that any weaknesses they have witnessed with the IBC, they should be brought out. And then the IBC, of course, they should take those criticisms of advice and then input in their system, because the idea is to get better, to do better as a commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I invite Madam Koki to ask some questions. Please, Koki.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dr. Muthama.
Yes, Madam.
We have had mostly, the question I want to ask you is on political campaigns.
Yes.
And the fact that there is very little regulation We know that the IEBC, under the Act, they have the Electoral Code of Conduct, which political parties and candidates and independent candidates sign to comply. But we have seen since 2002, when the ECK then had actually enhanced the implementation of the Electoral Code of Conduct and was fining candidates. And you recall quite a number of candidates were fined and they were forced to pay the fine. But now it's free for all. And so it's difficult, and it is even worse because of the different types of media platforms that we have. So given the opportunity to go to IEBC, what would you do to regulate the campaigning within the framework that the IEBC's mandate lies?
Thank you very much, Madam, for that question. It is true that the political campaigns in Kenya are a bit chaotic. And one of the things that has happened is the enforcement of the different legislations that have been there, the Election Act and also Election Offences Act, all those that have been put in place to check on the political players and how fair the campaigns are. There's a laxity in the implementation, and especially when you look at the political campaigns, the funding, the resources they use. In the last election, still the IEBC was unable to declare on how much they should spend. And so it has been a free-for-all. In most cases, those who are well-oiled, who have more money, get the seats, not because they are quite competent. So in my own observation, how we can regulate, one is enforcement of the existing laws, because I believe we have enough laws that can control the political campaigns. Yes.
Focus on how?
On
how to enforce the laws, how to implement the code of conduct.
Yeah, one is using the parliamentary the liaison committee with the political parties. We would meet and talk about what needs to be done, and of course all the other agencies that are mandated with enforcing that particular law. I think we'll bring them on board so that the laws start to bite, and when they realize that it is they are biting, of course they will then change the way they are doing. So it's about talking to the political parties on the importance of enforcing these laws and why the laws are important, and not only the political parties, all the players and also the voters, educating them. And then after that, all the bodies that are supposed to enforce is liaising with them, and of course being consistent when you start enforcing, so that you don't get accused of being partisan. If X did A, B, C, D, and this is what was done, then it should apply to B, it should apply to every other player. So enforcement, fair enforcement, and of course, that consistency will help in removing the malpractices that happen during the political campaigns, and also enforcing that issue about the capping on the expenditure so that we can regulate.
Thank you very much, Daktari, and all the best. Chair, thank you very much.
I'd like FCPA to ask you some questions. Can we please?
Thank you, Chair. Bwana Kilonzo.
Yes, sir.
The IEBC has adopted the committee structure and delegated oversight in the governance of the commission. So there are various committees, and one of them is HR committee. Now, there have been concerns at IEBC through the audit report that there are payroll integrity issues at IEBC, where staff who have exited the commission are still being paid. They are still on payroll. And there are no reconciliations being done. Using your experience as an authorized officer and accounting officer at Machakos County, how would you help the commission to address those concerns? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think those are issues that are all over. I think also there was also some indication that there are some fellows who had got employment in the IBC using fake certificates. So as an authorized officer, you know that I may not have, I don't need to have a degree in HR, so that
Please note that you will not be an authorized officer,
Yes.
neither will you be an accounting officer. I've said, using your experience,
yes,
how will you help the commission
yes,
through the committee structure
yes.
to address those concerns?
Yeah, I'm saying, for instance, if I have, I will have a colleague who will be in charge of that particular committee. And if such concerns come up, I think we have, of course, there's an aspect of engaging professionals first, because that's the bottom line. One is getting the right people for the job. So is a guy in charge of HR at the IEBC having the right qualifications? So I will very much emphasize on qualification, because in the years, or rather in my practice, I've realized that if you get the right person for the job, then you solve a lot of problems. You almost solve almost 90% of the problems when you get the right person. Then again, are the structures working? Because why is somebody still on the payroll past the age when he's supposed to exit? So what is the problem? So we would, I would advise my colleague on what we need to do so that they strengthen the system. By the time you get 60 in the public service, by the time you're even a year before, they start alerting you that you should prepare to leave. So why is the system not even doing that? So I would very much advise my colleague that we need to strengthen the structures, get the right people, and also not entertain these partisan issues that so and so is my friend, he needs to stay longer. And also have a good program for those who are retiring. Prepare them to exit.
Now, exiting the payroll is not only a function of retirement. There are many other reasons through which
Yes.
people can exit the payroll. So how will you, because I've heard you talk about retirement.
Yeah.
There are many other reasons on how people can exit the payroll. So
Exactly.
what mechanism will you put in place?
Advice. If somebody is exiting the payroll, maybe he has gotten some green pastures, he wants to leave, then there should be that proper communication to it is a HR practice that, of course, you give notice that you are vacating, and how fast is the system should be so fast. When that resignation, for instance, has been received, it should be worked very fast so that some person does not earn any extra money after he has already left. Because if somebody gave a notice, but he's still being paid, then there is a problem there. And the rules should be so strict that anybody who allows that, after the audit is done, then that person also takes responsibility for whatever loss that the commission got out of that. I think it will be a deterrent way of making sure that the person with the responsibility to do it does it and does it well.
Thank you, and I wish you well. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Evans Misati, please, to ask some questions.
Thanks so much, Dr. Mutama.
Yes.
Now, in trying to understand the current public opinion, how will you rate the trust of IEBC with the Kenyans now?
The IEBC is facing a trust deficit, that is true. What I think the IEBC has not done, it has not been very, or rather, it has not been very vibrant in communicating. So one aspect of demystifying these aspects of IEBC is communicating with the electorate, explaining processes through voter education or civic education, and also it can also the IEBC chair should be in a position where I've seen commission chairs even being invited in the media where they explain themselves. People ask questions and they respond. So much of it is that aspect that it doesn't communicate aspects that are in IEBC. And the aspect of being open, being communicating, also makes people understand you better. If you don't communicate, if you don't stakeholder engagement, then people will have they will have suspicions on what is happening.
What actions do you contribute to that raw public opinion of the IEBC? Specific actions by either the Secretariat or the past commissioners?
I think as concerns the current the current issues, I think it is because of the fiasco that we witnessed in 2022 between the commissioners, not agreeing. Because if the commissioners are not agreeing, and here you are in public, these ones are saying this, these ones are saying that, then of course there's an aspect of mistrust. So I think the current situation as it is, it has been fueled by the former commission because they were not able to agree. Because generally, it is good to give it to the IEBC that a lot has been done. Even the electoral, because I did work as an observer at the polling station where the elections are being decided. In most of them, it was flawless. Things were working. So when it came to the final issue now about the final tally, that those disagreement at Bomas, of course, cast aspersions. People start doubting whether the process was right. So I think the ABC also, the commission needs to look at how do we build a team so that any decision that is taken, it is a corporate decision, and we communicate. That's what brings confidence in the commission.
In your assignments where you are working, you have been in charge of quality assurance.
Yes.
Now, as we talk now, Kenyans are wondering, what is it that the IEBC staff are doing at the constituencies when we are not doing voter education, voter registration, and all that? So what will you do in that aspect, given that our constitution gives the mandate of IEBC to be carrying out continuous voter registration?
Yeah, I've also realized that the IEBC is no longer doing that, and maybe for good reasons, because the work of the commissioners is oversight. So if the IEBC Secretariat was carrying out voter registration, the question would be, who will be oversighting that? And voter registration is a very emotive issue because it is from the voter registration where elections sometimes are decided. So I would want to ask, what has delayed the constitution of the IEBC? What is it that it is being done late? Whereas when you read the IEBC Act, it says appointment or selection of the commissioners should start 6 months prior to their exiting. So what are these bottlenecks that have made that not happen? And in my own opinion, I think this is what needs to be addressed, because the oversight role for IEBC, for anything that is done by the Secretariat, it is extremely important. Because again, we may have a rogue Secretariat, and it may do things that the commissioners, when they come in, have already been messed. So I think let's address what is it that delays this recruitment of the IEBC commission, so that we do away with that, so that the law takes charge, and then we have a functional as a commission.
Thanks so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. I invite Fatuma Saman to ask some questions. Fatuma, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Mudama.
Yes,
Dr.
Madam.
Mudama, sorry.
Madam. Yes.
During the Kregler Commission,
Yes.
members of the public submitted a lot of widespread complaints against the then ECK on lack of independence and partisanship. So and this has continued to dog the same institution. What strategies, or rather what would you do or recommend to reform this situation so that the public, the institution can regain
Yeah, the
public
confidence.
confidence?
Thank you, Madam, for that question. If you look well in the election cycle, there are pre-election activities that are supposed to be taking place to make sure that IEBC is prepared for the elections. There are also activities during voting. There are activities post-election. When you look at that cycle, if that cycle was, or rather the steps were followed, I think we would eliminate the issues of preparedness. And maybe what has dogged this aspect is also the funding. Because, for instance, one of the activities is voter education, civic education, is voter registration. Sometimes it doesn't occur because the IBC has no funds. So there is an aspect of in the IBC that talks about the IBC fund. That's something that I advocate, so that IBC always has funds to fund all those activities that have been identified in the election cycle. And if they are done well, of course, if it is the voter education, the curriculum is well done and the messaging is right, then training of the staff, first the IBC staff and also the other staff that will be hired, the training is done well. The materials for voting are also procured in good time. Then I think we will eliminate that aspect of lack of preparedness. But when IBC only is seen in the last year during election, for instance, now 2027, maybe January is when you start hearing about IBC. It's a time that it has been funded. Then, of course, the same problems recur. But had they had the funds earlier and the way those activities are well stipulated, then I think we will eliminate that aspect of a lack of preparedness.
Thank you. I invite Nicodemus Barry, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Daktari.
Yes, sir.
Given the rapid changes in the electoral environment, such as the rise of digital platforms for voter registration and public engagement, how would you guide the IEBC to stay ahead of emerging trends?
IEBC, I think, should be seen in all the platforms. For instance, we have a very big youth population. Then the IEBC should now be thinking, how do we reach the youth in voter education, for instance, and also messaging? The youth will be found on Facebook, the youth will be found on X, the youth will be found on TikTok. So how do you procure content creators on TikTok who can be able to send these messages about the IEBC to the youth in a very friendly manner? How do you frame it so that it has that aspect of telling the youth that voting is extremely important? Because it is through voting, through choosing your leaders that you determine the destiny of your country. So I would be able to, or other advice, especially people in charge of ICT, let's look where our people are. Let's leverage on where the majority of the Kenyans are. That is TikTok, that is Facebook, and use that to messaging on very critical aspects of election or the work the IEBC does. Yeah.
What challenges do you foresee on in managing technology in elections, especially on matters information and misinformation, and how would you address them?
Yeah, I think there is an emerging challenge, especially with artificial intelligence, where people even create some content where an actual person who is not is communicating, whereas that is not what he said. So I think the best thing is for IEBC to be proactive, to be able to notice these aspects and then be able to counter them. Because I think in the media nowadays, people should be monitoring the media. In case they are fake news, they are fake communication, then you are able to point them out very fast, because it will happen. It will still happen. And again, making sure that whatever systems you are building, they cannot be interfered with. It is if it's issues about results transmission. Of course, in the last election, we will hear some strange fellows who are assessing the server. Then those are issues that the IEBC should come out. And I don't know why the IEBC has not explained the server up to now, because people are still thinking there's a mysterious thing. There's some mystery about the server. So I think, again, the messaging I was talking about, it should have come out clear and explained these things so that there are no gray areas as we go to the next election. So I think on technology is about getting the right people, understanding the risks, and of course, all the team in the IT department being ahead of everybody else in making sure they look for solutions when challenges come up. And most importantly, continuous communicating, because it is that communicating, very clear communication, that then the voters and the entire country is able to know what is happening. We should not leave a chance for guessing or even conjuring some imagination about the process. Yes.
How long did you serve at the Machakos County?
I served in Machakos County for close to 7.5 years, almost 8 years.
The same governor?
Yes, same governor. Dr.
Different dockets?
Different dockets.
Which were the dockets?
I served in the Department of Special Programs in the office of the governor. I served as a chief officer, Department of Water. I served also shortly in the office of the county secretary as in charge of special programs again. Then finally, I settled in the Ministry of Education. Yes.
For how long did you serve as a minister of a CC of Education?
No, not CC, Chief Officer.
Chief Officer.
Chief Officer of Education is of almost 45 years.
So what are the roles of the Chief Officer?
Chief Officer, like I said, is an authorized and also an accounting officer. I'm in charge of the public servants under me. I had almost close to, I think, 1,500 under me in the department, ECD teachers, managers for the vocational training colleges, and also the office staff. So generally, my role would be to assist also the CEC on policy formulation. Like when I went to that department, we didn't have clear regulations on the administration of bursaries. So I helped the CC in developing the regulations for award of bursaries, which removed so many issues about audit and all that, and we streamlined the system. So it's about advising about issues about policy and also managing the public servants in the department, and of course issues about performance management, making sure that they are arriving at the targets. Because in every financial year, we would sign targets with the governor. So I also make sure that all the people under me are also able to execute their duties and review their performance as directed.
So during your term, were there times when there were cases of misappropriation of funds?
There's one incident that happened when I was a chief officer water, where it is during my time is when we had a very ambitious water program. And I think that is the time that that department got a very high budget, around 2.5 billion. I did administer that budget, and part of the issues was drilling of boreholes. The county has acquired 8 drilling rigs. And as a chief officer, I had a dashboard where I knew at any one time where each rig is, and each rig was supposed to take like 1 week. So there is an incident where one rig could not be accounted for like 2 weeks. So I followed up, and I came to realize that the staff under me, some of them had gone out to dig a private borehole, not a public one, because we are doing public boreholes. Yeah, so that was a case that came to me, and of course I reported the DCI for investigation. Investigations were done, everything was done, and then the advice was to take administrative action on those public servants. They were first offenders. So as a department, I made the HR advisory for the county. We decided to surcharge them. So an engineer did the costing, what the county government had lost in that illegal activity. Then the costing, after done, we are subdivided with to the members, the person who are involved. So they were surcharged, they paid, and also the public service, the county public service also gave them a warning for what they did.
So were there times when ASCC was invited to investigate any of your dockets?
When you are a chief officer, you are essentially a customer of the ACC. Sometimes you award tenders and somebody complains, so the ACC come. So what I did as the dockets are served is, of course, constant communication. When a company come, I will go to the ACC, provide all the documents they need, and then they'll carry out the investigation. And so far, nothing was found out. Because in my practice, I've known that you must follow the law. The procurement laws that are there, they are sometimes stringent. People think that you can skip one requirement because maybe of some pressure. But I want one person who is a stickler of the processes. As far as they have been established, I make sure they follow. And I think that's why, even despite having done very major projects that cost a lot of money, up to now I have not had any issue because the processes were well followed.
So you are not aware of any active case with ASCC?
Not at all.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Welcome. You have been prompted.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. John 𝐊𝐢𝐥𝐨𝐳𝐳.
Yes, sir.
You are hearing the chair saying that I've been prompted because they know that any candidate who mentions South. Now,
yes.
Let me start from there.
Yes.
Since you prompted me.
Yeah.
You are seeking to be an IEBC commissioner. And you are saying here that the IEBC has never explained this server thing. Any reason why you think IEBC commissioners have never come out to demystify this server, yet it's a constant in every other presidential election? One would think that in the evaluation report, that's one of the things that they should be talking about, yet they never seek to demystify. Any reasons why that come to your mind, why they would not want to demystify it?
In looking at the systems of IEBC and the fact that the voting is decided at the polling station, and having been an observer and whose work was to tour the polling stations and see the activities there, I don't understand. If those processes are well done, then why would have an issue with the server? If the server receives the forms that have been sent, the A series that have been sent from the polling stations, then I don't understand why it's a mystery. So I wonder why they have not taken time to explain themselves, to go to the media also, invite themselves to the media and explain. Because people still think there's a mystery about the server. But if the server was receiving what was coming from the polling stations, which also was put in the public portal. So what is this mystery about the server that is not being explained?
That's exactly what disturbs me.
Yes.
So can you look at Kenyans in the eye and say that I, Dr. John 𝐊𝐢𝐥𝐨𝐳, when I become an IEBC commissioner, the first thing I'll do is convince my fellow commissioners.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because I would think I would go to the ICT department because I know we have competent people there. Yeah. Then they would try to explain those technical terms and then put it in a simple language that the people can digest. And then we finish up with this issue.
Very well. Following on that, what would Kilonzo Mudhama, what specific strategies would Mudhama implement to ensure that the IEBC remains an independent and impartial body in the face of external pressures?
I think one of the issues is that for IBC to be able to execute its mandate properly, I am convinced that it should also be well funded. This issue where we talk about the ICA fund, I think it should be, or rather, it should be taken into consideration and the funds should be made available. Because that's also one aspect of it being independent. Because when you are so much dependent on financing from the treasury and the financing is coming in bits, then sometimes the activities that you are supposed to carry will not happen. And then again, issues about civic education, engaging the stakeholders, just wanting to ensure that explaining why you must be independent, explaining why that IEBC should carry out its activities above board, because it is important to secure this country. Because IEBC, the role that it plays in making sure that we have leaders in place, it is very critical. And if that process is done and they are done in a credible manner, then of course the end result is that we have credible leaders who will take our country to the next level. We also know Kenya has a standing in Africa, and we should not be some of the countries that are being talked about failed elections, about election or post-election violence and such. So generally, if you secure the funding, and I also explained to all the members, of course, even we're using the committee for parliamentary liaison committee, talk to our leaders and understand why we need to do our jobs be above board without any interference. Then I think that if that sinks, then we will be independent. We'll be able to carry out our duties the best way possible. And especially looking at the election cycle, be able to tick the boxes and in good time. They should not be hurried. Like now we have boundaries delimitation, which has lagged behind just because of some things that was not done right. Thank you.
Very well. My last question. I was listening keenly to you as you answered the questions by my colleague Bore as an accounting officer. And I thought you were really giving a blow-by-blow account of what happened, which basically is about transparency, accountability, and so on.
Yes.
What strategies, were you to become a commissioner, would you implement to foster a culture of integrity, ethical compliance, and internal accountability within the IEBC Secretariat? I say this because there are always questions of chicken gate, of tenders, whether it's to Otimofo or to who. There's always a lot of intrigues around not only tendering, but even when the other day the Secretariat, in the absence of the commissioners, did what they had to do and gave us 62 billion budget, the whole country was like, what would you do?
Yeah, I think when it comes to budgeting, I know we have itemized budgeting, where when you talk about 62 billion, it is broken down to items, and all the items are costed. So at least that figure should be accounted for because of the itemizing of, or rather, it is itemized budget. And we have laws in this country. We have the procurement law, that is Procurement Disposal Act. And one thing that I've realized, if the law is well thought out and if well implemented, then I think we'll solve a lot of these problems. They have given you the various methods of procurement, the most transparent being an open tender. If you have to procure anything, people apply. And in most cases of the technical evaluation, you look at the lowest bidder. If he has the ability, then he's given. So if we were to follow the procedures of procurement and do it well, then we'll get the right person to deliver this without any interference. Kenyans are known to want those schemes of get rich fast. So I think also to look at the integrity of the person. Are you having a rush to get public money and get rich because of the position you hold? The best thing would be, let's administer these laws, and also those who have some questionable character, then they should be dealt with in according to the law. Because again, we must have that integrity, that we get the right people, value for money for Kenyans, because it is said that elections in Kenya is extremely expensive. Why is it so? Then those are the issues that we look at, so that we can bring the cost down. Because, you know, when you factor in corruption, that's when now the cost also skyrockets, because other issues are being considered, which should not have been considered. And that's why I'm insisting on itemized by budget, where you are able to argue so that the right items are captured. And of course, the issue will be, how do we make our elections less expensive?
What do you say now they're talking of itemized budgets? What do you say to a phenomenon that is now common in Kenya, known as budgeted corruption? That a beak, you already say 1 beak will cost 30 shillings in the budget, yet you know that the actual price will be 10.
Yeah, now that is exactly what we need to do. We need to be honest with ourselves and look at we call it market survey, because when you are planning about issues like in Machakos, when maybe we were procuring, there was the vocational training centers were being given a conditional grant, and sometimes when you are floating the tenders, you have to go to the market and get the market price, so that whatever the quotations are, they don't exceed the market price. So I think that's need to be done. There should be that integrity there, that you have done market surveys and you itemize according to the market prices, so that you don't budget for corruption.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Prof.
Yes.
Dr. Kilonzo.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of something called Maruba Dam?
Yes.
Is there any matter around Maruba Dam that you know?
Yeah, Maruba Dam. It happened when I was a chief officer of water. I say is a scandal that never was. Much of what came out of that particular procurement was a lot of misinformation about waterworks, and maybe a lot of information about the agreement, because many complaints came about that particular contract. The EACC invited me to go and provide documents. We made numerous trips to Maruba Dam with the EACC, with engineers from Waterhouse, and I think up to now, nothing has come out of it, because the procurement process, it was an open tender, the lowest bidder won. When it came to the implementation, it's something that had been budgeted for. When it came to issues about project identification, the deseating of Maruba Dam was a product of a task force that was appointed by then governor about water deficiency in Machakos County. And one of the recommendations was the urgent desilting of Maruba Dam. So that's what we followed. That's what we budgeted for that money, around 100 million. I think the project went for 89 million. And by the time I left the Ministry of Water, we had not finished even paying the contractor. The works were still ongoing. So I provided all the documents up to now. I think the contractor took the county to court for non-payment of the remainder of the monies. And I'm aware that the case, I think, was decided the other time when he was awarded damages for the delay in the county government not paying him the remainder of the money. So that's what I know about the issue.
And you're not aware if there is any current investigation or anything going on?
I'm not aware. I've not been contacted.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Do you have some questions to ask?
Dr.
Yes, sir.
You've studied
Yes.
education administration right from your BA,
Yes.
MA to PhD.
Yes.
You have been an education administrator.
Yes.
So on matters education administration, you are an expert and is aware. So I'll ask primary school, not even high school,
Yes.
question. Who is the current permanent secretary for basic education?
I think it'd be Professor Bitok.
Thank you.
Yes.
My second question. Which month and which year did the colonial powers proclamate the state of emergency?
Mm-hmm.
30 seconds to go.
Let me be honest, I don't know.
Thank you, Chair.
So,
Thank you, Dr. Kilonzo.
Yes, sir.
We have enjoyed this discussion. And certainly Kenyans who have followed have learned a few things from you and about elections.
yes.
We are grateful for the time. Do you have any comment or question so that we come to a close?
Yeah, I first want to thank the selection panel for finding me fit to come for this interview. And generally, the other thing is that I wish you luck so that you can be able to pick commissioners who have the integrity, the presence of mind to understand the enormous responsibility that they have to take our country to the next level. Because I think this commission is extremely important in our nationalhood because it gets the right people to lead us. And also, the way the processes are done, of course, they'll make sure that we have peaceful, free and fair elections. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you and good luck. Your certificates are at the door.
Yeah.
Feel free to take the notebook and the pen.
Okay.
Blessings to you.
Thank you.
Asante.
Also
and
the
the
water.
water, yes. Yes, thank you. Asante. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. We can have the next candidate.